Justice Issue presentation, Climate Change Causing Wildfires in the North, by Grace Gerster, Leah Boyd, and Bella Roiger. Climate change causing wildfires in the North. Our group decided that for our social justice issue, we are going to talk about climate change, specifically focusing on the increase in the number of wildfires in the northern North America. We chose to talk about this topic because climate change affects communities, wildlife, and public health, making it an issue that affects more than just us citizens. The purpose of this presentation is to educate the public about the causes and effects of climate change while encouraging others to make small changes that can reduce their environmental impact. Part of our project was to share the information through social media to reach out to the people who were not in this class. Let's start with the issue itself. Climate change is making wildfires worse across the United States and beyond. Warmer temperatures and longer drought periods create conditions where fires ignite more easily and spread faster. This is well documented in our research. But here's the social justice angle. Not everyone experiences this threat equally. Low-income communities often have less funding for fire prevention, less access to evacuation resources, and slower recovery after fires. Communities of color are disproportionately located in areas with higher fire risk and lower air quality from smoke. Rural communities may lack the infrastructure to respond quickly, so the people least responsible for climate change are often the ones suffering the worst consequences. That's what makes this a social justice issue, not just an environmental one. With that issue in mind, we set some clear goals for our project. Our scope was focused. We wanted to reach our peers and anyone else active on social media to educate them on the connection between climate change, wildfires, and social justice. We didn't try to reach the whole campus or the whole world. Keeping it focused made our campaign more realistic and effective. Our first goal was simply awareness, helping people understand that climate change is actively making wildfires worse and that this has real human consequences. Our second goal was a specific call to action. We wanted our audience to do something, not just learn something. So we posted ways that anyone can help, like living car-free, driving less, flying less, or shifting their diet. Research shows that campaigns are more effective when they include a clear, achievable action step, and that's what we built into our plan. When we first submitted our proposal, our idea was a broad campaign about climate change awareness. But after researching, we narrowed our focus down to wildfires and social justice. That made our issue more concrete and urgent. We made one key revision along the way. Originally, we planned to spread information generally, but we shifted to focus on how people can help. Bella posted Instagram content about health impacts and prevention. Grace focused on connecting everything to our textbook theories, and I created infographics on Facebook. Our implementation plan ran for 1 week from July 22nd to the 29th. We used Instagram and Facebook to reach our peers and general social media consumers. Every post directed people to the same call to action: how to play a role in preventing climate change. This revision made our campaign stronger because we moved from raising awareness to giving something people concrete that they could actually do. Our project was informed by 3 key concepts from our course material, each from a different textbook chapter. First, shared information bias. This is the tendency for groups to spend more time talking about what everyone knows rather than sharing unique information that only one person has. We knew this could hurt our project if, for example, we knew someone had personal experience with wildfire-affected communities but never spoke up. So we started with that everyone shared anything unique they knew about the topic before we discussed anything else. This helped us uncover information we would have otherwise missed. Second, we actively worked to prevent groupthink. Groupthink happens when groups prioritize harmony over critical thinking. To avoid this, we all sometimes play devil's advocate to challenge our assumptions and ask tough questions in different situations. This made our decision stronger because we had to defend our ideas instead of all just agreeing. Thirdly, The discontinuity effect describes how groups tend to be more competitive and aggressive than individuals. When we reached out to potential group members, we focused on getting to know each other first before any formal negotiations. This helped make collaboration smoother throughout our project.
Demonstrate and explain the campaign or project your group created. Our campaign was created with the focus that we were going to educate the public about climate change by going more into detail about the number of wildfires in the northern North America. We created social media platforms where we explained how climate change is having a direct relationship to the increase in wildfires while providing ways that we could, as individuals, help reduce the impact we're having on the environment. The goal of this campaign is to raise an awareness using clear, reliable, and easy to understand information that could help us encourage others to take the time to learn about this issue. Demonstrate and discuss the various components of your campaign. Explain how they work together and create one cohesive campaign project, and if applicable, demonstrate the campaign as your intended audience would experience it. We included many components that work together to communicate towards one goal. We created things like social media posts that explain the influence of the majority versus minority and the importance of knowing the difference for this topic. Each post focused on something little different for our topic while keeping the same goal of trying to educate the public about the increase in wildfire. By keeping our posts organized, it was easy for our audience to follow along and understand what we were trying to say about climate change and the fact that it is increasing the number of wildfires we are having. Include supporting materials where appropriate screenshots, photographs, hyperlinks, analytics, or audience feedback discuss the outcomes and impact of your campaign. To show our campaign, we included some screenshots of our social media platforms. These posts show how we reached out to the public outside of this class, trying to get people talking or thinking about climate change. We have not gotten much feedback from the public yet, but we hope to get some positive feedback soon. Our campaign was relatively small because of the given amount of time. If we had a couple months, we could do a lot more with our campaign and get more information out to the public.
Okay, looking back on this project, one of the biggest things we learned was just how connected climate change and wildfires really are. Through our research, we saw how rising temperatures, longer droughts, and changing weather patterns are making wildfires happen more often and become more destructive. We also learned why this is considered a social justice issue, since these fires can have a much greater impact on vulnerable communities. Beyond the topic itself, we learned a lot about working together as a group. Each of us brought different ideas and strengths to the project, and combining those perspectives made our presentation much stronger than if we had worked individually. Everyone contributed in their own way, whether it was researching, connecting course concepts, or organizing the presentation. We also learned how important preparation, organization, and communication are during a group project. Having clear responsibilities to help us stay on track and checking in with each other made sure everything came together smoothly. Overall, this project taught us more than just information about climate change and wildfires. It also showed us how effective teamwork, collaboration, and communication can help a group accomplish a common goal and produce a stronger final result. One of the biggest strengths of our group was how we divided the work. Instead of everyone trying to do every part of the project, we assigned responsibilities based on what each person was working on. This helped us stay organized and made the workload feel much more manageable. Everyone knew what they were responsible for, and each person contributed to the final presentation. Our biggest challenge was definitely finding time to work together. We all have different work schedules, different responsibilities, and things happening outside of school, so it wasn't always possible to meet at the same time. This at times made it difficult to be able to fully work together on this project or even have time for a phone call. Because of that, we had to find other ways to stay connected and make sure everyone stayed updated on the project's progress. Working through that challenge taught us several lessons about working as a group. We learned that flexibility is important because things don't always go exactly as planned. We also learned that trust is a huge part of teamwork. Since we couldn't always be working together, we had to trust that everyone would complete their part on time and do quality work. Finally, we learned that keeping each other informed and communicating regularly helped prevent confusion and made the entire project come together smoothly in the end. This project really showed us how important small group communications is. Since we weren't able to meet together very often because of our different schedules, communication became one of the most important parts of completing this project successfully. We had to make sure everyone knew what they were doing and what they were responsible for, provide updates, and ask questions whenever something wasn't clear. Even though we weren't always working at the same time, staying in communication helped us stay on the same page. Communication also played a big role in our decision making. We worked together to decide how we wanted to organize the presentation. We informed which information was the most important to include, and how we wanted to present our social media campaign. Everyone had the opportunity to share their ideas, and we listened to each other's opinions before making decisions. That helped us create a presentation that reflected everyone's contributions instead of just one person's ideas. Another thing we learned was how communication helps with problem solving. When scheduling became difficult or we needed to make a change to the project, we talked through those issues and found solutions that worked for everyone. Instead of letting problems slow us down, we worked together to figure out the best way to move forward. Overall, this project showed us that successful group work depends on more than just completing assigned tasks. It requires communication, trust, flexibility, respect, and collaboration. Even though balancing work, school, and other responsibilities was challenging, we were able to support each other and finish a project that we were all proud of. This experience really demonstrated many of the small group communication concepts that we learned throughout this course and showed us how effective communication can lead to better collaboration, stronger decision making, and a successful outcome. And this is our sources or references.